Welcome to thestockminer.com. I'm Brian Johnson, and kind of a boring start to the week. Now, we mentioned that if there's going to be moves, it'll happen Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Certainly did not happen today. Very clear by the chart in front of us. But what else can we glean from this? Yeah, really nothing. Except that the bulls are still working it out. I mean, we are staying in a consolidation. Look, consolidated here. Very, very stretched. Consolidated here, but we managed to make it higher. Consolidated here. Can this thing squeeze a little bit higher? Yeah, sure, why not? The high today was 11,517 with the low being 11,442. So it never really broke the range. I mean, we talked about above this 11,525-ish mark, and we talked about below 11,450 if you want to be more aggressive, but it's very aggressive in today's move. However, you can see the consolidation continues. So, waiting for breaks, one way or the other. No real trading at all, I'm telling you guys, not even from an intraday standpoint. Maybe this continues into the end of the week. Certainly would not surprise me. I will tell you to watch for this. Watch for the volume to drop off now each and every day as we push forward into the end of the week. People are going to start getting ready to, whatever they do, go out of town or whatever. So we might see more of this. Keep in mind, as long as this stays up here in this trading range, it is still has to be looked at as more neutral to bullish. I'm not big on taking any kind of long position yet. Probably won't for a little while. Going to wait for that pullback, but it is what it is. And we are moving sideways, guys. Continue to wait for that break. Take a look at it on a daily. Look, another tiny candle staying above the support, but not breaking to any new highs here. Much the same as what we've seen in the past. Look at this whole move here. You can pick out bits and pieces of this in through here, and we can go back in time to even a little further back beyond this here, and you can see the same type of movement right up in here. It's just creeping its way upwards, coming into the Christmas holiday. NASDAQ 60-minute doing the same type of thing. It was up a whopping 5 points today, and that is the 100 strongest NASDAQ stocks. Putting in that little tiny doji here, waiting for a move one way or the other. This thing can and could, still remember, still could drop. We don't have to wander upwards into the end of the week. We just have to wait for the break. That's the main concern right here. Let it break one way or the other before you take your trades. Weekly also inching its way up, putting in so far, 1 day into it, a small candle. Keep in mind we do not trade on Friday. Thursday is our last trading day of the week. SPX broke to new highs. We hit that 1250-ish area. Okay, so here we go. Hitting 1250 to 1260 was one of my areas to be watching. Quickly pulled back from there. I told you up over 1245, whatever, you guys could take it, but look, it's not hardly even worth it, really, to be trading up here. Every time it reaches any kind of 1, 2, 3 points above for a new high, it gets pulled right back down again. So once again, be very careful if you're going to try to trade this thing over the next few days on the indices standpoint, especially to the long side. NASDAQ or SPX on a daily, creeping up here, still holding up. I mean, we are at new highs at 1247.08, but 1 point, not making much progress, seeing much of what we saw back here, doesn't give me much hope for this rally to last for any great length of time as we enter the end of the year. Same thing from a weekly, putting in a small candle here. A little ways to go yet. We'll talk about that on Thursday. VIX daily was up ever so slightly, but staying below at these very, very low levels, not breaking to any new lows here on the VIX. But once again, a divergence. We saw markets flat to up, and VIX is up by 1%, keeping in mind that even a 20-cent move down here is still a 1% move in the VIX. So still seeing some divergences within the VIX and the markets. Those haven't panned out to be much of really anything for the most part. Keeping in mind, though, that it is still staying in the very, very extreme low end of the VIX. Can you see down here? We hit this way, way, way back in April-May time frame, back towards 15, and that's where we're hovering around now. So until we see breaks up and out of this area here, just really, guys, no panic here in the markets whatsoever coming into Christmas. Apple gave you a little move to the downside. I said be careful of this 318 level, watching for that to hold. got pretty close to this with a low of 318.23, so missed it by 23 cents. And then we get the spring to the upside. So Apple still trying to stay strong coming into Christmas. Watch this area up here, and he breaks up and over 323, 324. Could give you a little bit of an intraday play on the Apple side of things. From a daily, same type of thing. Came down, retested what? Pretty close to retesting the 20-day and trying to hold up above this 320-ish area that we've been talking about for a while. Let's see if Apple tries to get some legs coming into Christmas. Weekly, same thing. Little teeny tiny candles up here as we get ready for Thursday. Then we'll talk more about it then. Did break this little bull flag here on FAS, but not to any great extremes. We got back above 2550, 2560-ish area, only to find some resistance up here around 26. Did break the bull flag. Any pushes up and over 2620-ish or so are still my entries to the long side. Especially now that we've broken this bull flag. I'd be watching that carefully coming into the end of the week. You might see one more spring to the upside. Once again, your entry is and would be above that 2620-ish, 2625-ish area. Watching for this to hold. Breaks below this could give you a little bit of a short back into the 20-day. So below 200 back to the 20-day. That would be your shorting opportunity in FAS. FAZ then breaking out of the bear flag, coming down to retest the 50 to the penny, 1014 and 10, well, I guess about 1012 on the 50. Sorry about that. So missing by about 2 cents, but coming down to retest the 50 here and holding nicely. Will it drop? We don't know. Back below $10, still a shorting opportunity. To the upside, I don't know if you guys are into the penny plays. I guess you could get in above 1030-ish and see if you could play it back to 1040-ish. Not necessarily worth it on my charts coming into the end of the week, but if you're desperate for a trade, I guess you guys could look to play those. And here you see it holding well at the 1050 area, which is ultimately my long play. Up and over 1050 would be the place I'd be looking for this to get long. Otherwise, still back below $10, even on a daily chart for your shorting opportunity. Okay, short video today, kept under 7 minutes. Why? Because there's no movement in the charts. Let's see if we get any kind of movement into tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm not expecting much on Thursday, and then we'll see if it'll allow us to get in on any kind of trades. Be careful with your long trades. Watch carefully for your short trades. Make sure they break the levels before you get in either long or short, and we'll be back with you again tomorrow. Bye.